Robert Mitchell signed the divorce papers with a smile. Actually smiled. Sitting across from his wife of 15 years in a conference room that cost more per hour than most people made in a day. His lawyer shuffled papers. Her lawyer watched silently, and Robert couldn't stop smiling. "This is probably the smartest thing you've ever done, Amanda. Really, I'm proud of you." His voice dripped condescension. "Agreeing to a clean break, no fighting, no drama. Very mature." Amanda didn't respond, just sat with her hands folded, simple dress, no jewelry, hair pulled back. The same quiet woman she'd always been, the woman Robert had stopped seeing years ago. "My lawyer will make sure you're taken care of. 50,000 should be more than enough to get you started. First month's rent, security deposit, maybe a car, something practical." He slid the papers across the table. "Sign here and we can both move on with our lives." Amanda picked up the pen. Robert's smile widened. He was already thinking about Jessica, about the condo they'd picked out together, about finally being with someone who understood success, who appreciated ambition, who wasn't content being invisible. What Robert didn't know was this. In exactly 37 days, he was going to stand in a courtroom and hear a number that would destroy him. A number that would prove everything he thought he knew about his wife was wrong, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. 15 years earlier, Amanda Hayes met Robert Mitchell at a coffee shop in downtown Seattle. She was 23, working as an executive assistant at a tech startup, making $38,000 a year and sending half of it back to her mother in Ohio. Robert was 25, junior analyst at an investment firm, ambitious, confident. Interesting. He bought her coffee. They talked for 3 hours. He told her about his plans, about the company he was going to run someday, about the future he was building. She told him about her mother's medical bills, about working 2 jobs through college, about wanting stability more than ambition. He liked that about her, liked that she didn't need to be the center of attention, didn't demand expensive things, didn't compete with his dreams. They got married 8 months later. Small ceremony. Her mother flew out. His parents sent a card. They moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in Ballard, split the rent, split the groceries, built a life that felt simple and good and real. But what Robert never knew was this. Amanda wasn't simple. She was smart, quietly, carefully smart. The kind of smart that doesn't announce itself, that watches, that learns, that plans. She'd grown up with nothing. Watched her mother work 3 jobs and still couldn't afford medication. Watched opportunities disappear because of money. Watched people like her stay stuck while people like Robert moved up. So Amanda made a decision. She was going to be smart with money, was going to learn how investing worked, how wealth built itself when you understood the rules. She started reading finance books, investment theory, market analysis. She taught herself during lunch breaks, late at night after Robert fell asleep, on weekends while he played golf with colleagues, and slowly, carefully, she started investing. 10% of her paycheck, then 20, then 30. She never told Robert, never mentioned the accounts she opened, the portfolios she built, the strategies she tested, because Robert wouldn't have understood, would have told her to let him handle it, would have taken over, made it about him, like he made everything about him. So Amanda stayed quiet, watched her accounts grow, and waited. Robert's career took off fast. Junior analyst became senior analyst, became vice president, became CEO. Each promotion came with a raise. Each raise made him more confident, more certain that his success was inevitable, that he deserved everything he had, that Amanda was lucky to be married to him. He stopped asking about her day, stopped noticing what she wore, stopped seeing her at all. She was just there, making dinner, doing laundry, managing the house while he managed a company. He never asked about money, never questioned where his paycheck went. Amanda handled the finances, paid the bills, managed the accounts. Robert just assumed she was being practical, Saving for retirement, maybe? Putting money in some boring mutual fund? What he didn't know was that Amanda had been taking his raises. Every single one. The extra $2,000 a month when he made VP. The $5,000 when he made senior VP. The $10,000 when he became CEO. She invested it all. Tech stocks in the early 2000s. Real estate after the 2008 crash. Index funds that grew steadily year after year. And she never told him. Never mentioned that while he was buying expensive suits and playing golf at private clubs, she was building wealth that would make his salary look like pocket change. By their 10th anniversary, Amanda had $400,000. By their 12th, she had $700,000. By their 15th, she had $1.8 million. And Robert had no idea. Because he never asked, never cared, never thought his quiet wife could be anything other than what he saw. A simple woman, content with a simple life, waiting for him to come home and tell her about his important day. But Amanda wasn't waiting. She was building, preparing, planning for the day she knew was coming. The day Robert would stop pretending. The day his affairs would become too obvious to ignore. The day she would finally be done. That day came on a Tuesday. Amanda found the text messages by accident. Robert's phone on the counter. A notification lighting up the screen. Can't wait for tonight. Wear the red dress I bought you. Amanda stared at the message. Felt something inside her go very still, very calm. She picked up the phone, scrolled through the conversation. There were hundreds of messages, going back 8 months, pictures, plans, I love yous, promises about leaving his wife, about starting fresh, about building a real life together. The woman's name was Jessica Torres, 28 years old, marketing director at Robert's company. Beautiful, ambitious, everything Robert wanted in a woman, everything he thought Amanda wasn't. Amanda set down the phone, walked to her office, the small room Robert never entered, where she kept her computer, her files, her accounts. She pulled up her portfolio, $1.8 million, growing every day, more than enough, more than she'd ever need. She picked up her phone, called a lawyer, made an appointment for the next morning. Then she went to the kitchen, started making dinner. When Robert came home, she smiled, asked about his day, served him pot roast, never mentioned what she'd found, never let on that anything had changed. Because Amanda had learned something in 15 years of marriage. Silence is power, and patience always wins. The next morning, Amanda met with Patricia Chen, attorney, 45 years old, sharp suit, sharper mind. She listened to Amanda's story without interrupting, took notes, asked questions. Do you have proof of the affair? Amanda handed over screenshots, printed messages, hotel receipts she'd found in Robert's jacket. Patricia studied them. This is good. In Washington, infidelity doesn't technically matter for divorce, but it matters for settlements, especially if you can prove financial dishonesty. What kind of financial dishonesty? Spending marital assets on an affair, gifts, hotels, trips. It's called dissipation of assets. Courts don't like it. Patricia looked up. How are your finances? Joint accounts? Separate? Separate. I've handled all the finances for 15 years. Robert never asked. Never checked. Smart. What kind of assets are we talking about? Amanda pulled out a folder. Bank statements, investment portfolios, real estate holdings. Patricia's eyes widened as she read. This is substantial. I invested his raises. Every one. For 15 years. He never noticed. My God. Does he know? No. And you kept it all separate? In your name? Everything. He never asked. Just assumed I was being practical. Saving a little. He has no idea what I built. Patricia sat back. Amanda, you understand what this means? Yes. You're going to walk away from this divorce with everything. The house, the investments, everything you built. Robert gets nothing but what's in his name, his salary, his retirement. That's it. Patricia leaned forward. And given his affair, given what he spent on Jessica, given everything, he's not going to see this coming. Not at all. Robert came home that night to Amanda sitting at the kitchen table, envelope in front of her. He looked tired, distracted. What's that? Divorce papers. The word hung in the air. Robert stared at her. What? I want a divorce. I've already filed. Your copy is in here. She slid the envelope across the table. Robert opened it, read the first page, started laughing. Are you serious? Amanda, come on. This is ridiculous. It's not. What brought this on? Did I forget an anniversary? Is this about me working late? It's about Jessica Torres. His face went pale, just for a second. Then the mask came back, confident, in control. I don't know what you think. I saw the messages, the pictures, the hotel receipts. I know everything. Robert, don't lie to me. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he sat down. Okay, fine, yes. Jessica and I have been seeing each other, but Amanda, come on. You had to know this marriage was over. We've been going through the motions for years. So, why didn't you leave? Because I thought we could be adults about this. I thought we could keep things stable. But if you want a divorce, fine. Let's do it cleanly. No drama. We'll split things 50-50 and move on. Amanda almost laughed. 50-50? It's fair. We've both contributed. We'll sell the house. Split the retirement accounts. You'll be fine, Amanda. I'll make sure you're taken care of. That's generous of you. I'm trying to be reasonable. I know this is hard for you, but there's no reason to make it ugly. Amanda stood. My lawyer will be in touch. Please have yours contact her. Wait, that's it. You're not going to fight? You're not going to make a scene? No, Robert. I'm going to let the court decide what's fair. She walked away, left him sitting at the table with divorce papers and no idea what was coming, because Robert had spent 15 years not seeing her, not noticing, not caring, and now it was too late. The next 3 weeks were strange. Robert moved out, into the condo with Jessica. Amanda stayed in the house, their house, the one she'd helped buy, the one she'd maintained while Robert worked late with his mistress. She went through rooms, cleared out his things, packed them in boxes, had them delivered to his new address. She was methodical, calm. Robert's lawyer called twice, trying to negotiate, trying to get Amanda to settle without a hearing, offering $60,000, then $80,000, then $100,000. Amanda's lawyer turned them all down. Let's go to court. Let the judge decide. Robert called her once. Amanda, be reasonable. This is costing both of us money, legal fees. Court costs. Just take the settlement. It's more than fair. I don't want your settlement, Robert. Then what do you want? I want the truth. What truth? You'll find out. She hung up. Robert told Jessica that his ex-wife was being difficult, being vindictive, trying to hurt him because she was jealous. Jessica believed him, told him they'd get through it together, that once the divorce was final, they could start their real life. Robert agreed, smiled, signed his name on forms his lawyer gave him, never reading carefully, never asking the right questions, never imagining that his quiet wife had been smarter than him all along. The court date was set for a Friday morning. Standard dissolution hearing. Judge Carol Martinez presiding. Robert arrived with his lawyer. Expensive suit, confident smile. He nodded at Amanda across the courtroom, like they were colleagues, like this was just business. Amanda sat with Patricia. Simple dress, hair pulled back, same as always, invisible. Robert's lawyer opened. Your Honor, this is a straightforward dissolution, no children, limited shared assets. My client is proposing a fair settlement. Miss, Mitchell keeps the house. Mr. Mitchell keeps his retirement accounts. We split savings 50-50, clean, Simple. Both parties move on. Judge Martinez looked at Patricia. Miss Chen, your position? Patricia stood. Your Honor, we reject that settlement. It fundamentally misrepresents the financial reality of this marriage. Robert's lawyer frowned. Your Honor, we've provided complete financial disclosure. Everything is documented. You've disclosed what Mr. Mitchell owns. You haven't disclosed what Miss Mitchell owns. Miss Mitchell has no significant assets. She was a homemaker. Was she? Patricia pulled out a folder. Your Honor, I'd like to submit financial statements for Amanda Mitchell, covering the last 15 years. She handed copies to the judge, to Robert's lawyer, to Robert. Robert opened the folder, started reading. His face went from confident to confused to pale. His lawyer looked at the same documents. Your Honor, this can't be right. These statements show millions of dollars in assets. $4.2 million to be exact. Patricia's voice was calm. Accumulated over 15 years of careful investment, all in Miss Mitchell's name, all from funds she saved from the household budget and invested independently. Robert was staring at the papers. This is impossible. Amanda doesn't... She can't. Can't what, Mr. Mitchell? Judge Martinez looked at him. Can't be smarter than you, can't understand investments, can't build wealth because she didn't have an MBA. Robert's mouth opened, closed. I don't understand. Where did this money come from? From you, Amanda said quietly. Everyone turned. It was the first time she'd spoken. From your raises, every single one. You got promoted, got a raise, told me to handle the finances. I invested the difference. 10,000 a month became 15, became 20. I put it all into stocks, real estate, index funds, and it grew. For 15 years, it grew. Robert was shaking his head. No, that's not possible. You would have told me. Why? You never asked. Never cared where the money went. Just assumed I was paying bills, being responsible. You never once asked to see the accounts, never wanted to know. But, he looked at his lawyer. This is marital property. It came from my income. It's half mine. Actually, Patricia said, it's not, because Miss Mitchell invested it in her name, managed it independently, and under Washington law, separate property remains separate, especially when one spouse never contributed to it, never even knew about it. Judge Martinez was reading the financial statements. Ms. Chen, these accounts show consistent contributions over 15 years. Investment in tech stocks, real estate, diversified portfolios. This is sophisticated financial management. Miss Mitchell is very good with money, Your Honor. She taught herself. Spent 15 years learning. Building. While Mr. Mitchell spent his time, she glanced at another folder, spending marital assets on his affair with Jessica Torres. Robert's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client's personal life isn't... It's relevant when marital assets were spent on it. Hotel rooms, gifts, trips. Mr. Mitchell spent over $70,000 on his affair. That's dissipation of assets. That's relevant. Patricia handed more documents to the judge. Credit card statements, hotel receipts, jewelry purchases, all in Robert's name, all for Jessica. Judge Martinez studied them in silence. Robert sat frozen, watching his lawyer, watching the judge, watching his world collapse in real time. Your Honor, his lawyer tried again, Mr. Mitchell is willing to be generous. He's willing to let Ms. Mitchell keep the house, keep a portion of the savings. He just wants what's fair. What's fair? Judge Martinez looked up. What's fair is that Mr. Mitchell keeps what she built, what she earned, what she managed for 15 years while your client was too arrogant to notice. What's fair is that Mr. Mitchell gets exactly what he contributed to this marriage, his salary, his retirement, and the debt he accrued spending money he didn't have on a woman who wasn't his wife. She closed the folder. Here's my ruling. Ms. Mitchell keeps all assets in her name. The house, The investment accounts? The real estate holdings? All of it. Mr. Mitchell keeps his salary and retirement accounts. He is also responsible for the $70,000 in credit card debt he accrued during his affair. That's marital debt, and he alone created it. He pays it. Robert stood. Your Honor, this isn't— Sit down, Mr. Mitchell. The judge's voice was steel. You stood in this courtroom confident you'd walk away with half of everything. Confident your wife had nothing. Confident she was simple and manageable and beneath you. You were wrong about all of it. And now, you get to live with that. The courtroom was silent. Robert's lawyer was pale. Robert himself looked like he might throw up. Amanda sat very still, face calm, but Patricia saw her hands, saw them trembling slightly. Saw 15 years of being invisible finally being seen. Judge Martinez signed the order. Divorce granted. Assets divided as stated. This hearing is adjourned. She stood. Everyone stood. Robert didn't move, just sat staring at the papers, at the numbers, at the truth he'd spent 15 years not seeing. Amanda walked past him, didn't look back, didn't say goodbye. Just walked out of the courtroom into the Seattle morning and breathed free air for the first time in years. Patricia caught up with her on the courthouse steps. You okay? Amanda nodded. I'm okay. That was brutal. It needed to be. He needed to know. Needed to understand that the woman he ignored for 15 years was smarter than him, better than him, stronger than him. You're going to be fine, Amanda. More than fine. You have the resources to do anything you want. I know. Amanda looked at the city, at the buildings, at the life she'd built in silence. I already know exactly what I want to do. Robert sat in his car for an hour after the hearing. Just sat, staring at nothing. His lawyer had left, told him they'd file appeals, told him not to worry. But Robert was worried, was terrified. $4.2 million. Amanda had $4.2 million. Money he'd earned, money he'd made, money she'd hidden from him. He pulled out his phone, called Jessica. She answered on the first ring. How did it go? She has millions. What? Amanda. She has millions. $4.2 million. In investments? She'd been saving for 15 years. Investing, building wealth. And I never knew. Jessica was quiet. How is that possible? I don't know. I don't understand. She never said anything. Never showed any sign. She was just Amanda. Quiet. Simple. How did she do this? What does this mean for us? It means I have $70,000 in debt. It means I owe money I don't have. It means the settlement I thought I'd get doesn't exist. But you're still a CEO. You still make good money. We'll be fine. Will we? Robert's voice was hollow. Because suddenly I'm not so sure. He hung up, sat in silence. Thought about 15 years of marriage, of coming home to dinner on the table, clean house, bills paid, everything managed, everything handled, while he worked late, while he built his career, while he convinced himself he was the successful one, the important one, the one who mattered. And Amanda had been there the whole time, building something bigger, better, more impressive than anything he'd accomplished, and he'd never seen it, never noticed, never cared enough to look. 3 months later, Amanda stood in her new office, smaller than Robert's, but hers, all hers. She'd started a financial consulting business, teaching women about investing, about building wealth, about taking control of their futures. The response had been overwhelming. Women who'd been told they weren't good with money, who'd been told to let their husbands handle finances, who'd spent years being invisible. They came to Amanda, listened, learned. She taught them what she taught herself, how to read a stock report, how to diversify a portfolio, how to build something that couldn't be taken away. Her first client was a woman named Sarah, 42 years old, stay-at-home mom. Husband made 6 figures. She'd never seen a bank statement. I don't know anything about money. Sarah said. "I'm not smart like that." "Yes, you are," Amanda told her. "You just haven't been taught. But I can teach you. And once you know, you'll never be powerless again." She taught Sarah, taught 20 other women, taught 100. The business grew. Word spread. Amanda Mitchell, the woman who'd outsmarted her CEO husband, who'd built millions while everyone thought she was simple, who'd proved that quiet didn't mean weak, invisible didn't mean powerless. She heard about Robert occasionally, through mutual acquaintances, through the news. He'd been demoted. His affair with Jessica had ended badly. She'd left him when the money ran out, when the debt became real, when the confident CEO became just another man who'd lost everything. Amanda didn't feel sorry for him. Didn't feel anything, really. He'd made his choices, had treated her like she was nothing, had spent 15 years proving he thought she was beneath him. And the universe had a funny way of correcting that kind of arrogance. One Saturday afternoon, Amanda was at a coffee shop, working on client presentations. She looked up and saw Robert, standing in line, looking older, tired, wearing a jacket she recognized from years ago. Not expensive, not impressive, just a jacket. He saw her, froze. For a long moment they just looked at each other. Then he walked over. "Amanda, Robert, can I sit?" She gestured to the empty chair. He sat carefully, like he wasn't sure he was welcome. "And I wanted to say something. For a long time, I needed to figure out how." "Okay, I'm sorry. For everything. For not seeing you. For taking you for granted. For treating you like you didn't matter. For all of it." Amanda nodded. Didn't say anything. "I've been thinking a lot. About the marriage. About what I lost. It wasn't the money, I mean, that hurt. But it wasn't that. It was you. It was knowing that you were there the whole time. Being brilliant. Being capable. And I was too blind to see it. Too arrogant to notice." "Yes," Amanda said quietly. "You were. Do you hate me?" "No. I don't hate you. I don't think about you at all, honestly." "That's probably fair." He stood. "I heard about your business. What you're doing for women, teaching them. It's good, important. You're helping people." "I am. I'm glad. You deserve success. You always did." He walked away. Amanda watched him leave. Felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, no anger, just nothing. Because Robert Mitchell was a part of her past, a chapter that had closed, and she was writing new chapters now. Better chapters. Ones where she wasn't invisible, where her intelligence was valued, where her quiet strength was recognized, where she helped other women become exactly what she'd become. Free. That night, Amanda sat in her house. The house Robert had wanted to sell and split. The house that was hers now. All hers. She thought about the girl who'd married him 15 years ago, who'd believed in stability, in building a life together, in partnership. That girl had learned hard lessons, had learned that partnership only works when both people see each other, value each other, respect each other. And when that stops, when one person becomes invisible, the relationship dies, even if it takes 15 years to bury it. But she'd also learned something else, something more important, that she was capable of extraordinary things, that intelligence and quiet strength could build empires, that the people who underestimate you are the people who give you the most power, because they never see you coming, never imagine you're building something better than they could dream, never realize that their arrogance is your greatest weapon, until it's too late. Until you're standing in a courtroom listening to a judge read numbers that destroy them. Until you're walking away with everything they thought was theirs. Until you're free, and they're still trying to figure out what happened. Amanda picked up her phone, scrolled through messages from clients, from women she was teaching, from lives she was changing. She thought about Robert in that coffee shop, looking lost, looking like he finally understood what he'd lost. and she felt something unexpected. Pity. Just a little. Because Robert had spent 15 years with someone extraordinary, someone brilliant, someone who would have been his partner in every way if he'd just taken the time to notice, and he'd thrown it away, had betrayed it, had destroyed it for someone younger, someone flashier, someone who left the second the money dried up. He'd traded real for shallow, substance for shine, and now he had nothing. While Amanda had everything. Not just money, not just success, but freedom, dignity, pride in who she'd become, in what she'd built, in the life she was creating that had nothing to do with him. That was the real victory, not the money, not the courtroom, but the quiet knowledge that she'd spent 15 years being underestimated, and she'd used every second of it to become exactly who she was always meant to be. Extraordinary. If you've ever been underestimated, you know this feeling. The feeling of being invisible, of being dismissed, of people assuming you're simple because you're quiet, less because you don't demand attention. But here's the truth. Quiet people see everything, learn everything, build everything. While loud people are busy announcing their importance, quiet people are busy becoming powerful. And one day, the truth comes out. One day, someone demands to know your bank balance, or your credentials, or your capabilities. And suddenly, everyone who dismissed you has to face reality, has to understand they were wrong, has to live with the fact that they underestimated the wrong person. If you're still being underestimated, stay quiet. Keep building. Keep learning. Keep becoming more than they imagine. Because the moment they realize what you really are, that's the moment you win. Leave a comment if this resonated. Subscribe if you want more stories about people who refuse to stay invisible. And remember, the people who dismiss you are giving you the greatest gift. They're giving you time to become extraordinary while they're busy being obvious.